everybody. How you doing? Woo! Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Postgame show after a huge win down in Columbus. PHLY Flyers Postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Switch out of the victory mask. Go back to the hat. And Charlie, was it ordinary tonight?
It was a normal hockey game.
It was just like a normal game.
Yeah.
Like they got up early, stayed up, gave up a couple garbage time goals. Happens.
Yeah, whatever.
Just a normal day. What do we do now?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
We have an hour to fill. I don't even know what to talk about. I saw Red 1 last night. It was pretty good.
You would enjoy Red 1.
Oh, it was a masterpiece. Anyway, yeah, Flyers win 5-3 in Columbus. Fun game. It was fun in that it wasn't ridiculous. And while, the dramatic finishes, especially Michkov winning in overtime, that stuff's great. I love coming on after those games. I saw you typing away tonight. You got some stuff done. It's weird. It's weird when they just play a normal freaking hockey game. Like Tuesday night in December, this is exactly what's supposed to happen against an inferior opponent, and they actually did it.
We're on air by 9:40, which means the show will be over by 10:40.
It's great stuff.
Rather than the show ending at 11:20.
Yeah, at least.
because of all the craziness.
It was great. And the final score, okay, 5-3, and okay, normal game. The Flyers beat the crap out of Columbus tonight.
They were by far the better team.
From the very beginning of this game up until the final 6-8 minutes of the third, it was pretty much all Flyers, Charlie. And you laid it out here in the outline. The degree of dominance tonight, they scored 5 goals. They also hit 5 posts. It was power play count was 4-2. It was very much a game in the Flyers' favor. And listen, we talked about it pregame. Columbus isn't great. But they have been good at home this year. They've been feisty. They've been hard to play against. And Flyers just went and took care of business against a team that, as we said earlier this week, you're going to regret not getting 5 of those 6 points in the last 3 because you played well.
Right.
It seemed like they just kind of refocused, did what they had to do tonight, and were rewarded with a normal victory.
Well, I think that was the underlying point that I was making in the column I wrote after Sunday's game. Because if the Flyers are just bad, then who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If anything,
good.
Losing those 3 games is actually good.
Playing well and losing is what you want if you're a bad team.
Yeah, because the idea is, hey, maybe they'll draft in the top 5. Although, given the graphic they showed on NBC Sports Philly during the game, maybe the Flyers don't want to draft in the top 5. Because whenever they draft in the top, get guys who are real good.
Honestly, looking at that graphic, I was like, I don't know, you only picking it?
Yeah, maybe the best.
Listen, JVR had a really good career. None of it was here.
He's certainly not a guy who, when we talk about high-end talent,
second overall pick, that would piss people off.
That would not be someone who anyone would consider to be high-end talent.
If the Flyers tanked and ended up with a JVR, people would go, well, we have to tank again.
Keep tanking.
But no, yes.
But seriously, getting back to what I was saying, if they were just bad and they lost, they got, 1 out of 6 points in the 3 games this past weekend against Florida, against Boston, against Utah, it would be whatever. Yeah, maybe they should have gotten more points, but who cares? We know they're not that good. The reason why I came away so frustrated with those 3 games is because if you really were diving down into the core of what this team is, aside from just when they would lose their minds for a few minutes, you're like, this is a pretty good team. Is it an elite team? Of course not. No. There's a reason why we say almost on every show, they need more high-end players. They need to get more really good players. But this team, with Andrae solidifying the second pair, with the 2 backup goalies, eventually it'll probably be 1 backup goalie, but whoever the backup goalie is, isn't a sub-NHL caliber goalie. The fact that Sean Couturier is back to looking pretty good. He had 1 play today. He looked legitimately fast.
He beat someone.
He legitimately looked fast.
Power move, but won a race to make the move. And it was The defenseman was beat. He just went like, okay, I'm going to go defend the pass because I cannot catch
I'm not
this
catching
guy.
Sean Couturier. How many times have we been able to say that since the back injury? Maybe zero.
How many times do we say it?
Possibly zero.
How many times do we say it when he was healthy?
But point being is that this is a team that if you really dive into what they are at their core, they are very much now looking like the team from the first 2/3 of last season, except now with 100% more Matvei Michkov. That team got all the way to game 82 with a shot at the playoffs. This team, presumably, if they're basically last year's team, but with Michkov, they can be a playoff team. And you're seeing it in the quality of play at 5-on-5. I'm going to rattle off some numbers, but we have some for you from tonight's game as well. We're talking about 59.77% shot attempt share, 5-on-5, 70.57% expected goal share, 24-17 shot on goal advantage, and they score 5 goals and hit the goalpost 5 times. Like, if they had all the luck in the world in this game, they could have scored 10. And then had double digits.
And then that doesn't even count whatever the hell happened on that net that was just wide open for
they just decided not to
like,
shoot in an open net for 5 seconds.
4 seconds, 5 seconds of the net just being unattended. And no one could figure out where the net was. Like, they lost their GPS. I don't know. But you look at these numbers. 60% of the shots at 5-on-5, 71% of the expected goals. That is a dominant performance. Yes, giving up the goals they did, especially the garbage ones, you're like, come on, boys. Like, I would like to see Sam Ersson maybe make a couple more of those saves. I would like to see them tighten up a little bit. There was that point in the third period.
2 of them were deflections, which is more defend better in front of the goalie. But yeah, you could have gotten 1 or 2 more saves from Sam, sure.
And that's, you look at this thing and just like, tighten it up a little, especially like that point in the third period where they get one and you're like, I don't know, guys, maybe we just do the dump and chase thing and make them go the length of the ice and defend a little bit in the neutral zone.
And then it slowed everything back down again.
And then they figured it out again. They got it back. And it was nice to see them finish this thing off because we've seen them have really good, at least advanced stat performances in the last week or two. And then and then they somehow lost 7-5. I don't know how. Like, they didn't do any of that stuff tonight. And listen, the difference between Columbus and Florida is, the difference.
It's substantial.
Yeah.
Like, one team is going to finish with one of the probably 6 or 7 worst records in hockey this year, and one team very well might be playing until June again.
Yeah, it's
big.
But just to see them, like the Flyers, also go, well, we played well but lost. Now we're going to play well. We're going to finish it off and beat a team that we are better than.
Yeah.
Like, we can gripe about the style of play versus Utah. Like, I think maybe it was just a bad matchup, especially for, like, that point in the schedule right there. But, like, there's no debate. The Flyers are better than Columbus.
Yes.
And they went out tonight and proved that by a considerable margin.
Yeah. And these underlying metrics, like the ones today, they're higher than normal. But really, the Flyers have been driving play at 5-on-5 since the second week of November. This isn't new. Basically, ever since, again, and I know I keep going back to it, ever since Sean Couturier started playing like Sean Couturier again, and Emil Andrae solidified the second pair, this team has been a play-driving team at 5-on-5. There's just been some things that have prevented everyone from maybe seeing it. They've had a couple games where they've just been flat-out bad. Thinking about the Ottawa game, the Nashville game to a degree. Those have been games where they just didn't have it. But the fact that the penalty kill hasn't been as solid as it was the first month of the year, it's probably, made it less easy to notice how much better they've been at 5-on-5. The fact that Ersson was out for a while. There were just reasons why you could kind of ignore the underlying improvement of this team. Tonight, what was exciting about tonight is this was a night where if you watch this game from start to finish, there is no way that you can argue the fact that this team is not playing a heck of a lot better than they were playing at the end of October when they were struggling to get 20 shots on goal night.
And I think that's regardless of opponent, the way they played tonight was just a sustainably good way of playing.
Exactly.
Let's get the puck in the offensive zone. Let's create plays towards the net, and then let's deny as many shots as possible. 17 shots on goal.
Yeah.
And that's what they did last year.
Like, it's harder for me after the Florida game and the Boston game, even though I 100% believe it. It's harder for me to go up on these shows and say, but they actually played really well at 5-on-5 because no one wants to hear that. Everyone's like, but they blew the game, and but this, and but that. This is a game where I can point to these numbers and I can say the numbers match everyone's eye test, acknowledge this team is playing better.
And like, when it happens against, say, Florida, you go, well, that's the difference in, like, that's why they need the high-end talent. Because one guy, it doesn't matter because Matt Tkachuk had 5 points, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
You killed them, but one dude came back and basically matched what your entire team could do on offense. So that kind of changes it. And when you see this tonight, that's the reminder of why they're building this way. So they have those bumps against Boston, against Florida. Learn what that means. Like, winning is a skill. Closing games is a skill. And again, like, I would have liked to see them close it a little tighter tonight, but I'm not going to nitpick on a game where they dominated for 58 minutes. Yeah, right. You know, okay. But you're just seeing a little bit of that start to come together. I obviously want to see them keep it up, but if the idea is to play competitive games, then I want them to play competitive games throughout the season. And hell, man, I always say 86 games better than 82. I wouldn't mind seeing some playoff hockey, or at least some, the opportunity to play some playoff hockey.
I just think that, and there was a world where at the start of the season, there was a world where maybe this team would have been bad enough to be, a top 5 pick team. It was a world where the goaltending continued to be terrible. It was a world where Emil Andrae doesn't step up. It's a world where Sean Couturier continues to be on an 18-point pace, just like he was from February through April. And then it's a world where a couple other guys get hurt. Travis Sanheim misses half the season. Travis Konecny gets banged up because he's gotten banged up the last 2 years anyway. In that world, that Flyers team maybe can finish with the 5th or 6th best odds in the lottery. This team, though, is nowhere near bad enough to be at that point. So if on some level they're not bad enough to have real good lottery odds, why not root for them to make the playoffs? Why not?
And now, Charlie, we get to, you mentioned earlier. So it's basically, given the Couturier resurgence and Andrae replacing Sean Walker on the second pair, it's the same team as last year, but with 100% more Matvei Michkov.
Indeed.
And Mish, quiet game tonight. Just 2 primary assists.
Just 2 points.
Just 2 primary assists. Yeah. He now has 10 points in his last 5 games. He's now at 27 points in 27 games.
Per game.
He is a point-a-game player.
Per game pace.
27 games into his career. His power play assist tonight, he hooks TK up with a power play assist. Gives him 12 power play points this season. Morgan Frost led the team with 11 last year. We are 29 games into the year.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable how good this guy is. He turned 20 years old yesterday.
It's wild how, and look.
He is 20-001 on Hockey
This
Reference.
power play still is not great.
No.
I still do not believe that Rocky Thompson has done an amazing job this year coaching this power play. That said, this is just showing how important, more than in any other situation, how important just having the talented guys is to being passable. It just shows. And I think Travis Konecny is a darn good player. I think he is probably one step below elite. He is very much deserving of being on the Canada Four Nations team. He is a, star to borderline star level player. But he is not the kind of guy that can carry a power play. He's just not. We've seen it for the last 2 years when he was real good in both those years. Not good enough to carry a power play. He doesn't have the creative skill, let's say, to carry a power play. He's really good at being creative on the rush, but guess what you don't do on the power play? Score on the rush. You need a guy with the skill to do it with time and space in the half-court offense. They have that guy, and suddenly they're scoring power play goals for really no other reason than they have that guy.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. You see it with TK's, getting to TK's style of play. You see it with the power play goal he scores tonight. He's great with time and space on the rush. Well, a Michkov cross-ice pass opens it up so he gets that opportunity to score on the goaltender with a clean shot. Mm-hmm. You see it with his breakaway goal tonight. What is he great at? Scoring in those situations. He's awesome at finishing on the rush. Yeah. But he's not that guy, the point guard setting things up.
He's not. That's just not his style.
I'm going to get it to you and you're going to get it back to me in a give and get. That's just not what he does.
And he can be an important piece of a successful power play. He just can't be the guy.
Yeah, he's just not.
He could be the third guy.
Not that dude.
That's fine.
We got to talk for a second about Bet365. Man, no. You're good. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I hope you haven't been following my bets. Honestly, no. I'm gonna say we've been killing it with the Joel Farabee over bets. I didn't get. I mixed up the two things I wanted to talk about. But yeah, the Joel Farabee over 2.5 shots. It finally came to an end tonight. It was a hell of a streak for Joel Farabee. I believe 8 or 9 games in a row with 3+ shots on goal. We bet on like 6 of them straight. It was bound to end. But I've been placing all my bets this year, whether it's futures, in-game bets, live bets, whatever it is. I've been placing them all with the Bet365 app. I love it. Listen, you got your early payout almost immediately tonight with the Flyers taking that 3-0 lead. So download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. While we're here, I got to talk to you about Constant Contact. We're talking all about scoring goals, but I bet you have a lot of goals in business as well. Let's talk about those goals. How are you tracking with the ones you set for yourself earlier this year? Are you close? You know, it's almost the end of the year. Q4 is here. Have you accomplished everything you set out to accomplish back in January? Well, no matter how experienced you are with digital marketing, Constant Contact has the tools to make your marketing run smoother, sell more, raise more, and build more genuine relationships with your audience with Constant Contact's suite of digital marketing tools, all made to fast-track your success. You no longer need to struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable approaches to marketing your business. Tap email marketing that helps you create and send the perfect email to every customer, or own the smartphone by adding texting to your marketing strategy, and connect with over 2 billion people in social media with an all-in-one tool for posting and sharing. Sell more online in less time with Constant Contact's powerful e-commerce tool. You get all the automation, integration, and reporting tools that get your marketing running seamlessly. So join the thousands of businesses and millions of people who trust Constant Contact with their marketing success. Time to put the go in your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, and customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. Ready, set, go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity and start your free trial today. Go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity for your free trial today. Speaking of the bets, listen, maybe you've been tailing me this year. It's been up or down. But if for no other reason, you should be tuning in to the pregame show for our commenters' predictions. They've been killing it all year. Gary B, talk about a heater. Gary B, with his 3rd straight correct prediction, Morgan Frost will pot a goal. Well, he sure did put home his own rebound on a feed from Matvei Michkov tonight. Got to give it up to Gary B. We have seen now
3 for 3.
He had the Michkov 2 goals against Boston. He had the Joel Farabee finally gets his goal. He got one last game. And today, Morgan Frost scores. Way to go, Gary. It's been outstanding.
Nailing the Michkov 2 goals. That's the most impressive.
That's a good one.
Joel Farabee, we knew he was going to score at some point. Morgan Frost, maybe, yeah, he had the rough turnover, the weird play to end Sunday's game. Yeah, maybe he wants redemption. But to not just go for 1 goal for Mish, but for 2, that was an impressive call, Gary.
But when you look at it now, Michkov, tonight was his, I got to shout out Kelly as well. She also had the prediction for a Morgan Frost goal. There it is. Yeah. She even shouted out, I'm going to try to do a Gary B or Neil instead of Morgan Frost goal tonight. So Kelly gets the assist on that one. When you look at Michkov, though, yes, very impressive. Calling that 2 goals for him. 9 of his first 27 games, though, multi-point games. I mean,
and 8 of them are 2-point games.
Yeah,
he loves those 2-point games.
It's special right now, man.
It's cool. It's really cool.
I can't believe he's actually what was promised. And when you get to the Morgan Frost of it all, because that's kind of the part of that line that's been missing lately. We talked endlessly the last few shows. Yeah, man. Michkov and Tippett looking real good together. It's going well. Where the hell is Morgan Frost? Well, Frost shows up tonight. I did think he made some plays in some previous games, but like John Tortorella always says, you got to score. Tonight, he gets the secondary assist on the Owen Tippett goal from Drysdale, and he scores a goal of his own. Not a bad idea going to the net when Michkov has the puck. Maybe just get your ass there, and he'll probably set you up pretty well. Yeah. That's what happens. Took him 2 shots, but he eventually put it in. Good for you, Morgan.
Hey,
it's
if at
good.
first you don't succeed, try again.
Good to see him get going. 4 of his previous 5 points, 4 of his previous 5 games, no points. Goal and an assist tonight. Maybe this is the start of a Morgan Frost hot streak.
He does it every year.
It's right around this time.
It's usually December or January is when it starts. Well, it's December 10th. Perfect time for your usual Morgan Frost. We're not even quite at the second half yet. I think we're in like that right before the second third of the season. Yeah. We're in that range. Get it a little early this year, Morgan, maybe?
I really thought it was going to be last game because the artists formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes. We all remember a couple of years ago
he was once very good against them.
While, yes, he was on a great streak, it was like, well, 9 of these points are in 2 games against Arizona. I thought maybe Utah was the team that would get him going, but they're a little better than they were a few years ago.
I would agree with that.
Very, very happy to see Frost get going, because if he's going to be out there, I want to see him playing well. I don't think he fits in this team long term. Just forget how disappointing he is, and how disappointing he's been really since they drafted him, and the inconsistency and the coach stuff and all that.
The Morgan Frost of it all, as you say.
Yeah. I just don't see where he fits. I don't know, when you're building the team, where you slot him in when everything is what it's supposed to be. You need to find the 1C. You have Jet Luchenko. Coots ain't going anywhere, at least for a while. Yeah. Was Morgan Frost your 4C?
Yeah, but
it just doesn't fit.
But here's the thing. Even if you look at it that way, and I am definitely more on board with that line of thinking, because I felt like this was his chance to show that he had to be part of this, and thus far he is not. Even if you believe that he doesn't have a long-term fit, the short-term fit is obvious in that you need a skilled center to play with Michkov. Yeah. So that's him. But the other side of it is, if you've decided that he can't fit, you're going to trade him. You'll want him to boost that trade value as much as possible by showing in the second half of this season that he can still score at a solid rate.
I would love to know what the perception of him around the league is. Is he a playmaker that hasn't really got a chance to play with some goal scorers? And when he's had that consistent time, like he did a couple of years ago with Owen Tippett, it was it went pretty well. Yeah. Is it, it's just he's not a Tortorella guy. And as much as everyone respects Tortorella, it's once you're not, you're not. Some guys can turn it around like Sanheim, but for the most part, it's he's never going to give him that opportunity. I would love to know what the perception of Morgan Frost around the league is.
I think the perception is what he is. The perception is that he's
40-point center.
He's a quality middle 6 center. And if you are a team that is in need of centers, and there are definitely teams that just don't have enough centers, it's a hard position to fill, then you're going to be interested in trading for him. Now, you're not necessarily going to be interested in trading a first-round pick for him, but you are going to have interest. I can absolutely confirm that there were teams in the offseason, in the summer, that checked in with the Flyers on Morgan Frost, and they basically came away with the opinion that Flyers aren't serious about moving him. I think if the Flyers did get serious about trading him, maybe next summer, they would have teams. Maybe not the same teams that checked in last summer, but they would have teams who would be interested in giving up something of decent value. Probably not something of blue chip value, whether it's a quality prospect or a first round pick or a really good NHL player, present day player. I don't think they would get that for him, but I think you could get a mid round pick or a B+ prospect for him. I think that would be very much on the table.
I just wonder, as part of a package, what would he be considered? If you're trying to get something of high value, and you put Morgan Frost in that trade, does that put it over the top? Is it a throw-in? We'll see.
It depends.
It depends on what else is.
If you're trading for a 1C, a youngish 1C, and Morgan Frost isn't the blue chip of that deal. He's not the jewel of that offer, where maybe the jewels of the offer are a first-round pick and one of your top prospects. But then, it comes up in conversation. The other GM says to Danny, we're giving up this guy. Now we're weaker at center. Danny's like, well, I got a lightly used Morgan Frost to sell you. Why don't we put him in the deal and push it over the finish line? That I could see. I could see that.
All right, the left winger on this line, Owen Tippett, he scores the goal from Drysdale and Frost to make it 2-0. He now has 5 goals in his last 5 games. And just doing some math here, he's at 0.31 goals a game. The last 2 years, 0.35. He's
catching up.
Like, his next goal, as long as it's in like the next 2 games, will put him right on the pace he's supposed to be on, or at least to match what he's done the last 2 years. Yeah. Now, sure, we want him to take a step forward. And as the chemistry builds with Michkov, maybe this streak continues. And it's like, by the time we're going to 4 Nations, it's like, yo, Owen Tippett, he keeps scoring, you know? But that's still a while away. He has to do it. But it is a really good sign, because for a while I was just like, yeah, maybe this ain't it this year. If you're going to have that year, I'd really love you to do it in a contract year, you know? If you still have confidence in what he's going to be. Yeah. But they've already signed him. And that's disappointing to a lot of people, especially ones who are like, why are you signing guys long-term in a rebuild?
Got to take some risks on guys, especially when you're signing them through their prime.
And you signed him through his prime. I realize, yeah, there's a first-rounder in there, but you did trade a franchise legend for him. Kind of be nice to make him into something.
Yeah.
And it looks like they have. Owen Tippett is turning around what was a really bad start to the season. Is this just kind of... I know we say it all the time. They're streaky. Goal scorers are streaky. It looks so much worse at the beginning of the year. Yep. Like, you bring up the game log and you see that, 2 weeks in the middle of February, but there's a bunch of goals before and there's a bunch of goals after. You're like, it was just a little slump. When it's the start of the year and it's just zeros, that looks so much worse.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. And you said basically everything that I wanted to say, but I'll just reiterate. Like, the disappointment right now is not that Owen Tippett is going to have a bad year. On the strength of this streak, he is now more or less back to, reasonable chalk expectations for his season, maybe a little bit behind. The disappointment is, unless this 5-game streak becomes a 20-game streak, he is not going to have the big breakout season that everyone wants him to have, where then he goes from being, it's about a market value contract, to, oh man, this is where you're getting your surplus value that you need from 6 or 7 guys on your roster to become a legitimate cup contender. I still think that is there for Owen Tippett, that potential is there, that he could do that. I just don't think it's going to be this year, because if he's going to do it in one of these years, it has to be a year where he doesn't have that month and a half where he struggles. Yeah. And the problem is that he's already had that month and a half that he struggled. Now he's getting going. And at the end of the year, he's probably going to have his 28, 29, maybe even he cracks 30 goals for the first time. But he's not going to have that 44-goal season where you're like, oh man, that $6.2 million cap hit is a steal. You're just going to look at it and be like, yeah, that's about what a guy like that is worth. And that's fine. It's not going to hurt the Flyers. And I'm very happy that it looks like he's getting to the point where I no longer have to hear about people worrying that his contract is going to hurt the Flyers. That is good just for my general sanity, if not the Flyers. But I don't think he's going to have the kind of year this year where he's going to get people excited about that contract. Still think it could happen. I just don't think it's going to be this year.
And who knows? Maybe he has the insane year in a season where it could actually help the Flyers, like,
that would be cool, right?
Do something good.
A year when they actually have designs on like doing more than maybe slipping into the playoffs and losing in 5 games. Maybe does it a year where they're thinking Final Four, maybe? That would be a good time to score 46 goals.
It would be a good year to have that sort of season. Like the Jeff Carter. Yeah, he's like a 30-goal scorer. Oh, wow, he had 46. Yeah. Just to have that sort of season then, that would be helpful. There was one, I guess, controversial moment in tonight's game, Charlie. The Olivier hit on Emil Andrae. Tough to get a good look at it where it happened in the corner and just find an angle where you're really exactly sure where the point of contact was. At first, they called it a 5-minute major so that they can look at it. It eventually gets reduced to 2 minutes for elbowing. What was your take on the hit itself?
Well, they looked at it for long enough that I'm assuming, with the angles they have, I think they have more angles than we do if they were going with Toronto. I would assume that there was an elbow in there, probably on the follow-through. I don't think it is a true, like it, maybe it's an illegal hit in the sense that he follows through with it with his elbow. But I don't think it is a dirty hit in the sense of it being illegal. However, I do think that Olivier, this is why I have no problem with what Nick Seeler did. Because I generally, it rubs me the wrong way when guys will fight after clean hits. I don't think that was a clean hit because I think Olivier knew exactly what he's doing going in there, knowing that he's a big dude going in against a 5'8" kid, and he's trying to bully him, and he's trying to put a hit that he knows has the potential to injure him, even if it is technically not illegal by the book.
He traveled a pretty long distance.
Exactly.
He may have finished a little high.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't have a huge problem with it, but to your point, yeah, like,
he knows that has the potential to hurt Andrae.
Yeah.
And everyone on the ice knew that he knew. So that's my issue with it. Less that like I don't have a problem with the fact that they originally called it a major and they bring it down to a minor.
Sure.
I don't think that was a major penalty worthy hit.
no injury.
But I do think that it was a hit where Olivier is trying to not just hurt Andrae in the sense of like every hit you're trying to hurt the other player. That's hockey. Trying to capital H hurt Andrae.
Yes.
I think that was in his head. And that's why I have no problem. In fact, I am very happy that Nick Seeler on his next shift when he's on the ice at the same time as Olivier goes up to him and says, hey, you know, that's our 5'8" rookie. Don't do that. And if you do that, you're going to have to fight somebody and it's going to be me.
It was funny. We're watching the game and I just go, Nick Seeler has now fought both dudes who took it to Matt Rempe last year. Olivier got that uppercut in on him, in on Rempe last year. And of course, Delorier, like, the reason Nick Seeler made his name in this league was fighting Nick Delorier a couple of years ago. And now he has fights with both of those guys. But that is very much a situation because, yeah, it's the fighting after every clean hit does, like, I don't want to discourage hitting.
Exactly.
The physicality of hockey is what initially drew me to hockey.
Yeah,
it's like,
I love it too.
It's what I like about the sport more than other sports. But when it is that rookie and it is a guy who is undersized and that's an enforcer out there. Like Olivier is one of the biggest badasses in the league. He knows, like you said, knows what he's doing. He is trying to inflict some punishment on your smaller defenseman. Love that fight. I always prefer it to be a forward, personally, because you only have, and you saw it, like, okay, and then Sanheim takes a penalty, and now suddenly Jamie Drysdale's on the PK, and we give up a PK goal. You don't love that. But then Nick Seeler, one of the reasons they gave him that contract is you do this.
And he's not a small guy.
No, and he's also,
He's like 6'2". I don't think he is as bulky as Olivier.
Yeah, he's not a heavyweight, but he can handle himself. We've seen it.
Yeah. Here's my question for you, though, Bill, on that hit. Because this was something I thought about maybe after like the first 5 minutes after the hit when I had a chance to kind of, evaluate it from a longer view. Is Andrae not protecting himself an issue? Because we know, I had multiple interviews with Brent Flair, and he brought up on multiple occasions that Andrae, he's a guy where, he's willing to take a hit to make a play, and we love that about him, but he's got to remember that he's 5'8" and he needs to do a better job of protecting himself. He can't be taking those big hits. He's going to get himself killed out there if he just continues to play the exact same way he did in Sweden, where he's just like, yeah, hit me. I don't care. Well, these guys are bigger and stronger. They're the biggest and strongest hockey players in the world. How much of this do you put on Andrae to say, kid, you got to be more ready when there's a guy like that on the ice? You got to be more aware.
That's the hit may have been a tad late, and it feels like he may have had some time to get out of there or at least protect himself a little better. And that's, again, don't think it was the dirtiest hit. Like, it might have been clean. But being 5'8", Olivier measures in, he's listed 6'1", 226. Of course he finished high. Yeah. If he leads with his shoulder and does what he's supposed to do, he still might come up high and get him. And while that's unfortunate, it's also gonna cost Emil Andrae games in the league eventually.
Yes,
he's been.
I think that's my bigger concern.
Yeah,
well, we can debate on this show like, oh man, that's such a dirty hit. What a jerk. If it means that Andre's out for 2 months, who cares?
We really need Andrae in there. Like we've been talking for like almost a month now, hey, like one of the 3 reasons the team all of a sudden looks good is Emil Andrae is playing.
Yeah.
I don't want him to then be out of the lineup because the team without him was unwatchable.
Yeah. like if Andrae not protecting himself, like he gets a dirty hit that injures him, we can feel all good that we scolded the guy who hit him.
Yeah.
But the fact the Flyers are then missing Andrae for 2 months, like that hurts the Flyers. So there is a responsibility, even not even just talking about like, well, you have the responsibility to take care of yourself, which like you do to a degree. He has a responsibility to take care of himself because the team needs him. He's important.
He is a solidified top 4 defenseman on this team at this very moment. Yeah. We need you in the lineup, kid. And
like, is it fair? No, it's not fair that because he's 5'8", he has to be a little bit more careful. But it's just the reality.
But you just need, like, there's an art to it. And this is one of those, you see them bringing in all the former players and everything, like, perfect opportunity for someone like Kimmo Timonen or a former player, just like one of those savvy guys who played undersized, like, this is how you do it. Yeah. This is how you survive at this size.
Because they're not going to stop coming for him.
No. And listen, the league is much smaller than it was. Like 6'1", 226 for Olivier. It's like, oh, he's a big boy. Yeah. It's like, in the 90s, that's a guy who it's like, oh, I don't know if he's big enough to make it.
Yeah.
Like, now he's a bully out
Jody
there.
Shelley's looking down. I'm like, haha, you're funny.
Now he's a bully out there.
Right? Yeah.
And the league is smaller, but it's always going to be, with the speed especially, super physical that way. Along the boards, it's going to be a battle. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but he just needs a little bit more coaching up. Like, he's taken such strides from where he was in those first 4 games last year.
So many.
When it was like, he's going to die out there. Like, that's what it looked like. It was one of the reasons Tortorella was like, this experiment's over. Because he was going to get killed. It's not that anymore. But, yeah, he still needs to do a little, like, get the hell out of there, dude. There is absolutely no reason to take that hit. Like, you made the pass, the puck is gone, move your ass out of there.
Yeah, like there's a line in the movie Oppenheimer where one of his professorial friends says to Oppenheimer, like, you're not just fake important, you're actually important.
We need you, man.
Yeah.
We need you bad. That's what it comes down to. Speaking of perhaps undersized defensemen who have taken a beating, Jamie Drysdale's looking pretty good.
He looks good. Second straight game, he's looked real good.
Picked up an assist tonight. He is +3 for the game. Again, looked decisive and aggressive. Maybe he doesn't have the vision of Andrae. Maybe he doesn't have the sense, like just that inherent ability to just know where guys are and have that vision, IQ, whatever the hell you want to call it. But he's got some tools, man.
Oh, he's got
And
tools,
when he just plays free, he is incredibly impressive. And like I said last show, he played on adrenaline those first few games here, and he looked so good. And then just started to get worn down a little, took some hits, took that big hit, missed the rest of the But, like, I'm hoping he can continue this. I'm not getting overexcited because his first couple games here, I was like, oh, man, this dude is good. And then it waned. But I am excited that he missed all that time. We believe some of it for injury, other for coaching.
Remedial work.
Perhaps he wasn't quite as injured as the 12 games or whatever that he missed. Maybe he only
I have my doubts.
Maybe he only needed to miss 6.
He was practicing without a non-contact jersey on, with a normal jersey on for like a good week.
Yeah.
And he was on the ice with his teammates for like a good 2. Thinking he might have been able to come back a little earlier.
I think he could have maybe come back a little earlier. But if Bradshaw, John Tortorella, whoever the hell got their hands on him and said, this is what you need to be doing, and he came back and did it right away, that bodes really well. Now, he's got to keep it up. And more importantly than anything, he's got to keep himself on the ice.
Yeah. But
really good signs from Drysdale right now.
Oh, yeah. And looking at his underlying numbers tonight, at least per natural stat trick, best expected goals for percentage on the Flyers at 5-on-5, 85.52. That's coming off a game last night or 2 nights ago on Sunday where he was in the 70%. He's doing good by the numbers. He's doing good by the eye test. There was that one shift in the first period where he was basically everywhere. He makes a good hit along the boards, then helps them bring the puck in, skating around the offensive zone. He's doing the things that got Anaheim so excited about him in the first place, to take him with the draft pick they took him at. Like, this is why he's exciting. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form ready to say he's fixed.
Oh, yeah,
These are 2 games, and as you mentioned, he looked real good in those first few games after the trade too. Maybe this is him, as you said, playing on adrenaline, playing on spite, playing on whatever. And then he's going to crash back to earth, and then he's going to have the same issues that have held him back the entirety of his career. But this is at least a reminder that it's in there somewhere. Like, even during, and I might have scoffed at it, but like, and I don't think he ever is going to become or has become the guy that his biggest defenders thought he was going to be. But even Rasmus Ristolainen, there would be times in Buffalo, I remember reading the tweets of angry Buffalo fans where maybe 3 or 4 times a year, he would have a game where they'd be like, man, if he only played like this every game, like, it's there. He shows it sometimes. It's just all the other games, he's absolutely horrific. And that's why his numbers at the end of the year are terrible. But you would see it sometimes. It'd be like, man, it's in there. You just can't pull it out of him consistently. With Drysdale, these games remind you it's in there. And I've said this before. There's no assistant coach I'd rather be the one trying to pull it out of him in terms of coaching defensemen in the NHL than Brad Shaw. If he could fix Risto, there's no reason why he can't at least turn Drysdale into a decent NHL defenseman with the tools that he has.
It stands to reason. Like, just where I was with Travis Sanheim 18 months ago and where we are with him now, it's like, oh yeah, he's on Team Canada and it makes sense. You know, like, this isn't insane. Yeah. That's like, a crazy leap.
Sure.
Like, I do remember a couple of those games that Risto played were against the Flyers, and I just remember being like, why does everyone think this guy stinks? He can play for my team any day. And then you'd see him other times and go,
what is he even doing out there?
What am I watching? Like, why is he so big and not, like, he can skate, he's huge. Why does he stink? And now these guys seem to have put it together. Emil Andrae, huge strides the last few years under this coaching staff. And with Lehigh Valley, got to give them credit as well.
Absolutely.
But if anyone can do it, you got to believe it's the staff with Drysdale.
And maybe Drysdale's ceiling, just like Risto. Like, Risto, there was a time where his biggest fans around the league thought he was a number 1. You know, oh, just get him out of Buffalo. He'll be the number 1 defenseman, the big physical unicorn defenseman, right-handed shot. He's not that. Yep. This is the best version of Rasmus Ristolainen. This is the best version he is ever going to be at the NHL level. And that is a defensively sound second pair number 4 defenseman. And that is way better than he was in Buffalo. It's still not the number 1, but it's a good defenseman. Maybe Jamie Drysdale will never be a number 1, the guy who was taken 6th overall because you think he can be, you know, a 50 to 60 point top pair defenseman taking on tough minutes. Maybe he can never be that. But maybe these guys can make him into a quality second pair guy who can do power play stuff and drive play. Maybe they can make him into that. And if that's all he can be, it's a hell of a lot better than what he's been.
Yes, considerably better. I have one more thing I want to say about Drysdale. But first, got to tell you about our friends at Coors Light. That's right. We're talking about Coors Light here because between work, social media, life in general, we're worked up. We're worked up all the time. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. This team that we're talking about right now especially has the tendency to just drive us absolutely nuts. We've been doing this a long time, talking about them. I'm not getting any less fired up, and that's why sometimes even I just need to chill, and there's no better way to chill than with an ice-cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out about goaltenders, defensemen, whatever it is, the draft lottery, say, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, or when you want to celebrate a nice normal win, you just got to chill. Make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door or find a store near you by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And while we're here, got to tell you about HelloFresh. Got my first HelloFresh box a few weeks ago. I've got another one since, and it has just changed the game for my wife and I in terms of meal prep and what we get to do, especially this time of year, man. I love the holidays, but it's busy. It's super freaking busy. I'm always looking for ways to reduce my stress, reduce my wife's stress. HelloFresh helps make mealtime manageable and saving you from searching for recipes all over the grocery store. You just pick your meals and everything you need is delivered right to your door. And every HelloFresh recipe includes high-quality, sustainably sourced ingredients like produce that comes fresh from the farm. I've been enjoying this. I think you will too. Check out HelloFresh right now. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free flyers. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free flyers. I'm a big fan of HelloFresh. Charlie told me about it well before they were even a sponsor. Once they became one, I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I haven't cooked since I quit, basically, the restaurant business. It's like, no, I did that for work. I'm done with it. It has made it so easy that even I'm back in the kitchen. So check out HelloFresh.com. That's code free flyers. Do it right now.
I truly thought you were going to say, I quit cooking, as if like you quit smoking.
Yeah.
Like the same connotation. I'm done with cooking.
I'm done. I
cold turkey.
Quit cold turkey. It was the easiest thing I ever did. Yeah, got married.
Man.
One more thing about Drysdale. We talked about this during the game tonight. He's back. He's not on the top power play unit. What do you make of that?
It's interesting. It tells me that they are going to make him earn his way back up, because we talked to John Tortorella, I believe it was about a week ago, about Andrae's play on the power play, and he wasn't terribly complimentary of it. He said in the beginning he was looking real good.
Yeah.
Now he's starting to struggle a bit with his decision-making. Haven't loved everything I've seen from him. So my first thought when I heard that, because like my reporter sense jumps up, and it's like, oh, so then when Drysdale comes back, he's going to immediately jump back on that top unit. And by top unit, I mean whatever unit has Matvei Michkov on it.
Yes.
That is the top unit. We're back in the Drew era, where the top unit is whatever unit Claude Giroux is on. The top unit is now whatever unit Matvei Michkov is on. And the fact that Andrae is still on that unit tells me that they're making Drysdale earn his way back up. Maybe he gets up there, maybe he doesn't. But they're not going to hand it to him. They're going to make him fight his way back up by the quality of play in the other situations and the quality of play, because he's still getting power play time.
Yeah.
He's just on the second unit. They're going to make him do stuff maybe on that unit before they move him up to play with the big guns, to play with Michkov and Konecny. Maybe that's the plan.
I wanted to look this up. So the Flyers have, this would be 15. Tonight was game 29. So they have 15 power play goals.
Okay.
Michkov has 12 power play points.
That's funny.
That is incredible.
Yeah. I can see a world where like we get back to where it was in the mid 2010s, where like every single player on the Giroux power play had the highest on ice goals 4%, like goals 4 per 60 in the NHL. Like they were like top 10, every single guy. And then the Flyers had a 12th ranked power play because every time the second unit was on the ice, they never scored.
What was
like,
it?
are we going to have this again with Michkov?
There was that one year where it was like February when the second unit had its first goal with all 5.
Yeah.
There was like one goal I remember.
With none of the top unit guys on the unit.
One goal in like November, December that they were all out there, but Ghost got like a secondary assist on it.
He was out. The line change
like,
was weird.
And then changed.
Yeah.
And then it was like another 2 months before the second unit scored again. Maybe that's what this is. But yeah, I just found it. You asked me that earlier. And my one thing is maybe, because they played that expectations game with us with Michkov. Like, listen, he might have a little trouble, especially early, just kind of getting going. They tried to temper our expectations.
And
now,
he did at 5-on-5.
Sure,
a little bit. Now it seems like he's starting to get the hang of it.
It took him a month to figure out the NHL.
Power play, though, off the jump.
Yeah, but just if Jamie Drysdale, like you said, the top unit is the unit with Michkov.
Yeah.
If he's out there, suddenly we need him, like, because we get mad, like, every time Michkov has a cool pass and the dude doesn't score, we're mad at that guy. Tyson Foerster, Owen Tippett, whoever.
Well, you and the fans are.
Yeah, the royal we.
The royal
we. I don't know if that's how you use that, but you know what I'm saying.
Close
enough. Like, we, the Philadelphia Flyers fans, are mad at whoever doesn't score every time they accept a pass from Michkov. There are certain expectations of Mish. We just love him so much. That's a lot of pressure. And if that power play unit has Jamie Drysdale, that pressure is on him. He's at the top. He is playing pitch and catch with Mish a lot when he's in his spot on the right boards and Jamie Drysdale's at the top. Maybe it's also a little like back that pressure off a little.
Maybe.
Let's bring you. You're still going to get some power play time. so you can work on some things.
Yeah.
But the unit that's expected to score is the one with TK and Michkov.
Well, there's also an element too, and I don't know if this is something they've identified with Drysdale, but I can tell you it was absolutely something they identified with a guy who's no longer with the organization right now, Ronnie Adder. They felt like, because they were trying to work with Adder to improve the details of his 5-on-5 game, and they felt like when he was racking up a ton of power play points, that it made him less detail-oriented at 5-on-5 because he was just like, well, I'm scoring on the power play, so I'm doing what I have to do to be impressive to the coaches. And the coaches would be like, or the developmental staff would say, like, great, you're scoring on the power play. That's not going to get you to the NHL. What's going to get you to the NHL is if you're better at 5-on-5. To the point where they eventually took him off the power play. Because their view is that we're not going to let you feel better because you're getting these cheap secondary assists on the power play, because that doesn't matter to us. You're not going to be on the power play in the NHL.
Like, and just you're like, not. You know how many of those guys there are? Like, go find yourself an Eric Gustafsson. Yeah. There's always those defensemen available. Like, yeah, man, you can be our 6 and run our second power play. Cool. We can find that dude for $1.5 million. We don't need to develop him. Yeah. We can go get him. Yeah. You need to do a little more. Maybe that's part of it. Yeah, maybe that's part of it with Drysdale too.
Where they're like, you have to work on this stuff. Yeah. So we're not going to make you feel like, well, I'm doing everything I have to do because I've racked up a bunch of points in the power play because I'm playing next to Michkov. It's like, Ristolainen racked up a ton of points in the power play when he's playing with Eichel. Didn't mean he was a good power play defenseman.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of it. And we've always said, like, oh, why is this guy on the power play? It should be this other guy. It's a reward for 5-on-5. Power play time is
absolutely is.
As much as you just need the guys out there who can do it, a lot of it is a reward for your play at 5-on-5 because it's where you rack up points and what do you get paid for? Points.
Or alternatively, as it was for a player who did play in this game, it's being afraid that he's going to throw a temper tantrum if he's taken off the power play.
Well, there's a reason he ain't here no more.
This is fair.
I'll tell you, there were so many. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
He is that cautionary tale to me, honestly, of
poor development.
Just poor development and like getting my expectations. There was a time.
Speaking of
Ivan Provorov, the people who, I mean, a large percentage of our audience has been watching us since he got drafted.
Those who didn't get it, I was talking about Ivan Provorov.
We do have some fans who, Ivan Provorov, man, it wasn't even just like the hype or anything. Just watching him play for the first couple of years, I was like, there's something there. Like, he's the next Duncan Keith.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking there was just another level.
Yeah.
And man, that year with Ghost.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was a lot of fun.
Their
advanced second year in the league.
Their advanced stats, like just not even like eye test or what they're doing on the power play, whatever it was. Their advanced stats were like top 5 D pairs in the league with like all dudes who you go, ooh, yeah, they're awesome. Like, and that's what they looked like.
Yeah.
How did it just go the other way? Like, he just thought he was too good for it. It was a development thing. I can't believe what he is now. He's now like, yeah, he's going to get traded and probably fetch another good return, and he'll help a good team as a second pair defenseman. Yeah. But that's like what he is. And for a minute, it was, this dude's going to win a Norris one day.
Yeah.
And he just never hit it.
He just stagnated.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to know if it was a developmental failure or if it's just this is all he ever was and we overrated him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ever going to become the number 1 that we thought he could, because I don't know if he thought the game with the puck at a high enough level. And I don't know if that's something that you can ever really teach a guy. You could put him in a system that maybe makes it easier for him, to be sure. But when we're talking true number 1s, we're talking about guys you could put anywhere and they're a number 1. They're a 26, 27 minute a night guy who, regardless of what team that guy is on, he's going to score 50 plus points every year. I don't know if that ever would have been him. But I do think that if the development would have went better and if he would have been maybe more open to coaching, he could have been a real good number 2. He could have been a Marc-Edouard Vlasic in his prime where, he's only going to get you 35, 40 points a year at his best, but he's going to drive play and he's going to be super solid in every other way. He could have been the ideal number 2. I think it could have been that. Now I think he's just a fine second pair defenseman. And it's a bummer because I think that was in there. I think there was enough in there that he could have become better than he is right now. But now he is what he is.
That 17-18 season 17 goals, 41 points. Like, man, what the hell happened? All right. Do you want to do 3? Yeah, let's hit 3 stars, then let's hit the super chats.
Ooh,
Charlie
3
O'Connor, it is
stars.
time for your 3 stars of the game, starting with star number 3.
Okay, star number 3, I'll go with Jamie Drysdale. Really good game, picks up an assist.
Okay.
Great underlying metrics. Yeah, I think Jamie Drysdale, second straight game, he's been real good. We obviously spent a lot of time talking about him on this show. I don't think he deserves to be above the top 2 guys. But honestly, this was the kind of game where so many guys played well. I thought Bobby Brink had a really good game. Joel Farabee gets another point. Tyson Foerster does good work. Morgan Frost we talked about earlier. I thought pretty much the entire D-core played well. Nick Seeler has that strong, intangible fight and even picks up a secondary assist on a goal. I thought pretty much everybody on the team played well, and there were probably about 8 or 9 guys who I thought played really well. So me saying Drysdale is only 3rd star, it's actually a pretty big compliment. Yeah. Because there are a lot of guys who could have been 3rd star, but I thought Jamie Drysdale had a real good game, so he's 3rd star.
All right. Hit us with star number 2.
Star number 2 is Matvei Michkov, 2 assists, really good passes. Was he perfect? No, because he's still a now 20-year-old rookie. But talking about a guy who you said he has 10 points in his last 5 games?
It's 2 points.
Just 2 points. 2 points per game. It's not bad. It's
like
okay.
he was doing in the preseason against AHLers, you know?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michkov's real good. 2nd star of the game.
All right, and finally, tonight's 1st star.
Travis Konecny, 2 goals. Look, Flyers dominated this game, absolutely. That said, the goal he scored at the end of the 2nd period is a low-key big goal because Flyers are up 3-0. They're dominating. They're in full control. Werenski scores on the power play. Suddenly, you're only up 2 goals against a team that you probably should be up 5 at that point. With the amount of posts they hit, with the puck possession they had, suddenly you're only up 3-1. You go into the second intermission only up 2 goals, maybe Columbus regroups. I don't think they're as bad as they played all game. Maybe they regroup in the intermission, and the 3rd period is another one of those crazy Boston games where they come back and they win in overtime, and we're just starting the show right now because there was another crazy one. What happens? Travis Konecny takes a long pass from Joel Farabee, makes a great move, opens up the goalie's pads, puts it right under them. Boom. 4-1, 3-goal lead going into the 3rd period. Game's over. That's a low-key big goal to make sure this game doesn't get weird. Konecny was great all around, but that was a key moment goal in a game that didn't have a lot of key moments. For that reason, more than any other reason, he's my 1st star.
5th 2-goal game of the season, 8th multi-point game, 15 goals in 29 games now, 42-goal pace. Not
you love to
too
hear it
shabby
and see it, I guess,
from our guy, Travis Konecny. And before we wrap up tonight's show, I want to say we appreciate those of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. Very much appreciate everyone who's tuning in on all the TV channels we're on. But we have a 60-minute limit, so we need you to go to allphly.com if you want to see
the super
chats. Super chats.
The super chats.
Let's hit those super chats. We have the first one from Devin. He says, last time Flyers had 2 players over a point per game, Matvei Michkov and TK. Man, because even like 1920,
probably
it was
Voracek and Giroux. They probably had a year where they both were point per game, I would think.
I believe so. Like because
there was that one year where Voracek almost won the Art Ross.
Yeah.
It was like the Sagan Ben year. And I think Giroux was Giroux also point per game that year. There had to have been a year where they were both point per game.
You would think. Because even like the last time they were good, 1920, it was more a team effort. Like it was
and if I
kind of
remember
spread
correctly,
around.
Konecny led the team in points.
Konecny, I believe, did lead the team in points
that was the first breakout that ultimately proved not to be the real breakout.
Yeah, before he then had a 2-season slump, and now he's actually broken out. I guess like the Travis Konecny, the saga of the Travi is don't give up on these guys. I guess.
It appears that the last time was the 2017-2018 season.
Wow.
Claude Giroux finished with 102 points. That was the should-have-been MVP year. Jake Voracek finished with 85 points in 82 games. So 2-point-per-game players, 2017-2018.
What did he finish? Like 4th that year in Hart
Yeah,
voting?
he didn't even get on the podium.
Wasn't even a finish.
It
wasn't even a finalist.
It was utterly ridiculous.
Same thing happened in 11-12, right? Where he carried the team, and I don't think he was even a finalist.
Yes, he was 4th that year.
4th that year, too.
Yeah.
Joke.
Yeah.
Thanks for that one. Next one from Corey. Hope you never lose the mask, Bill. Woo!
Well, we need to get him a belt. The problem
I want the belt so
problem
bad.
is that the belts are very expensive, according to Bill. So
yeah, that's why I don't own like an actual WWE belt. Like, but the Flyers one is really freaking cool. I'm so glad they're using it. I want one of those so bad. But yeah, the mask has served us well. Kelly wants to get me orange Hulk hands. She thinks those are more fun.
Okay.
I was like,
you might knock over the mic though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You gotta like do it like this.
I already have like. I'm always knocking stuff over anyway. All right, yeah, but the mask, at least for tonight, stays. All right, first one here from JH. They may never lose again. Yeah.
I mean, they lost the last 3 games, but they may never lose again. Yeah. You never know. Everything's 50-50.
Every streak starts at 1. You know, you have to win 1 before you win infinity.
Right, exactly.
All right. And the next one here from JH. It says, in all seriousness, one of their best games, TK Drysdale and Michkov were skating like they were possessed. Question for Charlie Obuji. How often does a rookie make the all-star team?
Well, it's not a question we're going to have an answer to this year because, JH, there is no all-star game because we have 4 nations.
And, of course, the replacement all-star thing
doesn't have a Russian team.
There's no Russian team.
Which he would have made, obviously.
Did you see the I can't remember what platform put it out, like what outlet, but it was like a Czechia and Russia roster if they had been in the tournament. And it was like 2nd or 3rd line, Barbashev centering Mish and Ovi.
Oh, man.
My God, that would have been cool.
The narratives.
Oh.
The narratives, William. Oh. We're getting cheated out of the narratives.
Would have been
passing the torch.
Would have been special.
To the next Russian superstar.
Oh, yes. As he's just assisting on goal after goal. Maybe Ovi even sends him a pass or 2. That would have been something. But
cool.
maybe at the Olympics.
Rookies do make all-star teams sometimes. It's not an unprecedented thing. Most likely, had there been an all-star game, Michkov would be in serious consideration, but there's not because of 4 nations.
And of course, if it was fan voting, we'd just be doing, that would be half of our show.
Yeah, probably.
I'd just be like handing out diehard subscriptions or something if you had 100 retweets or whatever the hell it costs.
Yeah.
All right. This next one here from Adrian Franklin. Is this Owen Tippett we've been waiting for?
At least this season.
Yeah.
This is the Owen Tippett we were waiting for this season.
Yes.
Is it the Owen Tippett we are waiting for in terms of full season? No, because the first month of the year, month and a half, he wasn't scoring like he should given his talent. But the one from these last 5 games, especially the goal tonight, because that was a distance shot.
Yeah.
Yes, I want him scoring more goals in the blue. I want him, playing a little bit more of a power game. But if he's going to be really good, like really good, he has to score, 10 or so of them just by sniping it past the goalie.
Yeah,
he does.
That's like Bush.
That's what makes him unique.
Bush tonight said that's probably one Elvis wants. It's like, yeah, but that's what makes a sniper a sniper.
Exactly.
The ones that shouldn't go in do.
Yep.
And yeah, you need those greasy goals because that's how he's going to get from 28 to 35, from 35 to 40.
Yep.
But his shot is what makes him special right now, and his speed, and you see that on a good rush goal like that.
Yep.
All right. From Mr. Twitzer says, hey, Bill, did you know the diehards have a Discord? Check it out sometime. You might like it. Keep up the great work. Give Matvei the calder. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm going to pull an Andy Reid here. Got to do a better job.
Got to do a better job.
Got to do a better job.
Starts with me.
It does. I'm blame me for this one, kids. Yeah, I'm gonna put my phone number in the Discord and just tell people to text me.
That's very dangerous.
That sounds like a bad idea.
That's a really bad idea.
Sounds like a bad idea. We just have so many things. We have a Slack for the company. I gotta check the social media.
We all have a lot we have to do.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just lazy.
I'll take care of the Discord. You can pop in.
I'll do all the writing.
You can pop in on occasion, Bill. It's fine.
I'll do all the writing and go to every practice, go to every game, and you could just yell for an hour every day. Thank you, Charlie. I'll try to get back in the Discord. Get back in by visit for like the 3rd time ever. This next one from Adrian Franklin again. Should Briere trade to Minnesota for Marco Rossi? And who do you think would be? And would you think he'd be a good addition to the team?
I do.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a very good addition to the team.
He's a skilled center on a team that doesn't have one, so that would be
near
nice.
Point per game pace, I believe, for Minnesota.
He's been good.
The only negative about Rossi, and I don't personally have a problem with this, but I do think some people will. He is small, and people would say that makes their team too small up front.
It may be an issue in the playoffs. We have seen plenty of smaller players succeed in the playoffs. Jonathan Marchessault won a freaking Conn Smythe a couple of years ago.
Sure did.
Danny Briere, all-time great playoff performer. I'm just saying it's possible. You do need some badasses, though.
Agreed.
You do need some badasses. I love Garnett Hathaway and Nick Seeler. That can't be your answer to the Tkachuks.
It would be nice to have a badass in your top 6 who actually should be in your top 6, not a guy who just put in your top 6 to say you have a badass in your top 6.
The essential, that's what made Wayne Simmons so special.
Exactly.
He scored 30 and would whoop your ass. Yeah. You want that. Finding them is real hard. That's why, there's rumors about Brady Tkachuk, and Ant Lauer is ready to fight somebody. He's going to sue a journalist.
First of all, how dare you?
Yeah, he's like, oh, Larry Brooks, I'm going to sue you. Stop saying these things. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, give me Marco Rossi all day. All right, this next one from Obi-Wan. We have so many tonight.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan was
Gary El Gaib. Yeah. I believe this is going with the Dune.
Okay.
The Dune reference.
Okay.
I believe.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gary, another huge prediction tonight. Way to go, Gary B. What's this say? From Michkov tilt counter.
Sure.
Obviously, Michkov will get the Calder, but should he crown himself king of rookies by starting a tilt with Hudson on 4-5 in Montreal? It's for Chuck while he's there.
Bill's going to be there too.
Yeah, we're all going to be there.
We're all going. Brent's
we're all going to be there. In fact, you can go as well. Just go to allphly.com right now. Check that events tab. Philly Sports Trip and PHLY heading out to Montreal April 4th to the 7th. Going to be an awesome trip. I can't think of a better gift to give the Flyers fan in your life, or just gift yourself, because you deserve it, damn it. You deserve it. Check it out right now. Montreal, PHLY, and Philly Sports road trips.
Yeah, so just to follow up on this, though, he did obviously punch Macklin Celebrini in the face. So maybe he just has to punch every single contender for the Calder in the face. That's how he wins.
Should have got that ref, too. I just love violence. From Vince, of course, why not us? Why not? Yeah, I'll give it to you tonight, Vince. I'll give it to you tonight.
Also, here's a point I want to make, Vince. This is speaking to you. Okay? Since actually you're our boss. So when you submit these super chats, you are functionally paying yourself. Because the money is ultimately going to the company that you are managing, at least the local section. Instead of the $4.99 super chats, why don't we put it into a big bucket and get this guy a championship belt? Call it the championship belt fund for Bill. All the super chats, all the why not us's go towards getting him a championship belt.
That would be so freaking fun. That would be so funny. All right, we have one from Socrates Johnson tonight. I didn't come to rescue Michkov from you. I came here to rescue you from him.
Thanks,
Is this another Dune?
It might be. I haven't seen Dune 2
maybe
yet.
Gladiator.
Could be Gladiator.
Yeah, I don't know.
Seems like a quote from something.
Sounds like Gladiator to me.
I mean, it's a little bit like the line from Watchmen. But it's not quite like that, where Rorschach is like, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me.
Yeah.
A little bit like that.
Great scene.
Yeah, great scene.
From Kev A, let's see here. Is Torts putting the rookies in danger by not dressing an enforcer when the other team plays theirs? No. Because I was looking for tonight, because I mentioned earlier, I always just kind of prefer a forward to fight because you only have 6 defensemen and you see what happens. Like Sanheim takes penalty, things transpire. I found Garnett Hathaway's last fight. It was the 2-fight game against the Rangers.
Okay.
And one of them is preceded by Delorier literally chasing Trouba around the ice. Has him by the jersey at one point. Trouba is just ignoring him. And he just runs Hathaway, just train track, bulldozes Hathaway, and it didn't. Delorier is literally holding him when this happens. There is no deterrent. Yes, I love it when we get our, pound of flesh back. I love retaliation. I love vengeance. But it doesn't stop stuff from happening. Mm-hmm. It's clear. Like, that's very obvious. So, like, yeah, also, if Delorier is on the ice with Michkov, the other team now wins. It is now essentially 5-on-4.
I mean, you can make it so they're never on the ice.
I understand. Then how is he protecting him?
Yeah. The argument would be that, and this is always the argument you're going to hear, and it's impossible to prove one way or the other.
You can't prove a negative.
You can't prove a negative. It's that, well, if Delorier was on the ice, or Delorier was even on the bench, then Olivier never would have done that in the first place. And maybe, but you can't prove it. And then even when Delorier is on the bench and bad things happen, the argument is, well, imagine how much worse it would have been if he wasn't there. So it's impossible to prove one way or the other. It makes the Flyers feel good, both as a team and as an organization, to have Nick Delorier on the roster. That's why he's on the roster. Does he actually have a deterrence effect? I think Bill and I count ourselves in the skeptics camp on that front.
And don't get me wrong. I love enforcers. I want to see fights. But in terms of protecting guys, I don't see it. All right, just a couple more. One from Obi says we need to watch Dune 2, please.
I want to. So I love the first one. I've read the book multiple times. I'm a Dune fan. It came out during the busiest stretch of the season last year in March during the playoff run. So I wasn't able to watch it when it came out. I could have watched it on streaming, but it strikes me as one of those movies where I really want to see it in theaters. So what I've been doing is I've been waiting until it gets invariably nominated for Best Picture, because then all those movies go back into theaters for a little bit, and I'm going to watch it then.
All right.
That's my plan.
Charlie has a plan.
I do have a plan.
Meanwhile, I love Red One. I find another one here from So Craig Johnson. He says it's from Rambo. Get Bill the Bell.
Oh, Rambo. See, I haven't seen Rambo in like 2 decades.
It's been a long time. It has been a long time. All right, and that is all the time we have for you tonight on the PHLY Flyers postgame, brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be back tomorrow with our regular 4 o'clock show. Make sure you tune in for that. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us here on YouTube. Set the reminder bell. Get the notifications so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. And follow the podcast as well, wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. I'm Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Until tomorrow, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.